Hello friends, welcome back to Dust Not Included. My name's Roy and today I'm at Savers in East Providence. After the video, check out my eBay store. A link is in the description below. Happy Pride Month everyone! Follow me on Instagram for lots of awesome updates. Well, it's off to get a cart and head to the shelves. Today's Friday for me and I've had a long week at my full-time job, so now it's time to relax and do some thrifting. Well, one of the first things that caught my eye was this Kimberly mug by Fire King, and look at this McDonald's mug. Look at this 8mm projector. Wow, that brings back some memories. Who remembers seeing family trips on one of these things? This cat teapot was adorable. I love his little green bow tie. They were asking $12.99 for him though. He is made in England. This just goes to show you not everything at a thrift store is always a bargain. Well, moving down the aisle, I saw lots of nice vintage items, like this planter here. They were asking $4.99 for it. Right in back of it was this gorgeous crackle pitcher. $5.99 is a good deal if you're buying it for yourself. There was also this really nice green one in the back. This picture here was hand painted and made in Austria, but too bad it had that huge crack. Wow, someone dropped off their lighthouse collection. This particular store color codes their end caps, but this red end cap was a little disappointing, so I headed down the next aisle and decided to check out the planters and vases. It's a perfect time to hit your local thrift store if you're planting outside because they have some nice cheap planters. However, today I'm looking for something antique or vintage, and I wasn't quite seeing anything on the shelves that I had to pick up. Never skip any aisles because you never know what you're going to find. This candle's a little interesting. Right now we're heading down the candle aisle. In previous stores I found some really nice stuff here, so don't ever skip it. Sometimes they have fairy lamp tops or even the inserts. Well, on the other side of the aisle was the holiday items, and you know Christmas in July is coming. So I was looking for anything vintage. However, the shelves were full with a lot of newer items. Well, behind these glasses was a domed lithophane fairy light. These are really nice when you put your candle inside and they illuminate from the back. They were asking $3.99 for this. Those cherubs are adorable. Well, sometimes you find some strange things at the thrift store. Is that Harry Styles? Well, on the bottom shelf here, they had two Wilson cake pans. They were both holiday ones, and they were asking $3.49 each. Some of them can be quite collectible, but you gotta know which ones. Personally, I like vintage decanters. This one here was nice, however, it was missing its stopper. They were asking $3.49. Well, they sure had a lot of vases. I didn't see any while I was there. Do you think I missed one? As I turned the corner, I decided to check out the bag wall. Lots of fun things can be on the bag wall. It's one of my favorite places to look. Just some candles in here. This little wicker chair was interesting, but the other items in the bag I wasn't too keen on. Then I spotted this entire bag of lusterware shakers. There were just so many of them. I had to pick this up. I kept searching the bag wall. This little bird here was interesting. It is a clip-on bird. However, again, the other items in the bag just weren't worth it. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what type of items you never pass up. The next aisle had baskets and metal items. What a weird combination. I didn't see any Longaberger baskets, so I moved on down to the tins and then the metal items. This little basket was interesting. It is a made in China piece. They were asking $3.49, but it had holly and berries on it. We made our way to the yellow end cap, and the first thing I see is this amber mosser boot. It's a Victorian shoe, and it's in a diamond cut pattern. Very pretty. Right behind it was this cut clear piece. It was missing its stopper, but it's a beautiful yellow. And all the way on the top was this art glass piece. It is a newer item, but they were only asking $5.49, so if you're in the market, that's a great price. Well, we made it to the wood aisle. On the top shelf here was this diorama. This one here was made in China. They were asking $10.99 for it. You could find the frame here at a thrift store. One of those shadow box frames, and then thrift all of the different little vintage items you could put in. I don't know, lots of ideas running around my head. Well, I'm definitely finding a lot of those signs that have positive affirmations. However, I'm not quite looking for those. Well, I already have 2 mugs in my cart, but let's see what else I can find. This Christmas Story mug was interesting. I always loved this movie as a kid. My favorite part is when he gets his tongue stuck to the lamppost. They were asking $4.49 for this mug. They had more nostalgic mugs for me on the bottom shelf. And hey, I love Lucy and Ethel. Well, at first I got excited, but this turned out to be a reproduction piece. If you can find the original McCoy one, there are lots of people that like to collect those. Well, from afar, because of the colors, these look like they could be Fiesta ware plates, but they're not. They're the wrong stripe pattern. However, this chartreuse piece is definitely Fiesta ware. They were asking $3.99, and I'm going to add it to my collection. I decided to get down low and see if I could find any others. Unfortunately, it was the only bowl on the shelf. Well, up here, I spotted this gravy separator. It had lots of really interesting graphics on here. What a fun piece. They were asking $4.49, but then I noticed on the underside, the lip was all chipped up. Time to hit the glassware aisle, and the first place I started was with the shot glasses. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. These vintage glasses are by Libby, and they're the carriage design. They were asking $14.99 for these. I thought these glasses were interesting. They say happy anniversary with silver overlay. Usually there's a year marked on these, but not these two glasses. They were asking $4.49 for a set of two. Also for a set of two were these vintage glasses. They were the same price in this lovely yellow and white color. This little vase is quite charming. Well, if you're in the market for some china, look, there's a whole basket for $60 here. It must be the whole set. Well, on the top shelf, I noticed this blue tulip teapot. I always find these pieces quite charming. Right next to it, I found this Made in England Sadler teapot. It was a gorgeous two-toned with this gold and dark blue. They were asking $13.99 for it. On the top shelf here, they had this festive turkey tureen. It was a new item, but it would make a really festive centerpiece for your Thanksgiving Day table. They were asking $7.99 for it. On the top shelf here, they had a Libby condiment set. It was $8.99 with all these gorgeous gold leaves. Well, here we are exploring the blue end cap, and look, it's a Fenton slipper. I love this blue color. One of my second favorite sections is the bakeware aisle. I collect Pyrex, and I was hoping to find some. But you never know what's going to be placed where. This is definitely out of place. It is a Weller pottery vase. I love the Weller Company. The Weller Pottery Company was founded in 1872 and produced pieces up until 1948. They exhibited their pieces at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. The piece I found is from their Cameo line, which was produced from 1935 to about 1939. Well, the rest of the aisle didn't have anything I wanted, but I was more than thrilled to find that Weller vase. Well, the appliance aisle isn't typically an aisle I find too much on. However, at the end of this one, they had a bunch of clocks. And look at this piece down on the bottom shelf. This is definitely a vintage item. It had two candle holders and the clock. How neat is that piece? Time to look at the artwork wall. They had some nice religious pieces and a lot of contemporary items, But if you're looking for something for the wall, this can be a great place to find something, even just to find a really nice frame. I thought this poster was fun. It's a vintage spacecraft. However, it was bent and kind of damaged. Well, so far, I'm really happy with everything I've been finding. It's been a pretty great trip. I'm gonna head over to the back of the store and see if anything was placed around in the furniture aisle, because you never know what you'll find where. This time, I didn't find anything back here, but you always gotta check. You can also find me over on District on both Vamp and Knickknack marketplaces. If you use the code DustKnow80, you can get $5 off your first purchase on District. Join Janides and myself this Thursday at 6:30 for a vintage live sale. It's gonna be a blast. That was a pretty good trip, friends. I'll see you on the next one.